Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I rise today to extend my congratulations to the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance for his clear vision and the democratic approach set out in the 2026-2027 national budget, despite the exceptionally difficult geopolitical and economic situations unfolding in the Middle East. The repercussions of these international events have inevitably vibrated across the global economy, yet our country has shown resilience during the past month, and several sectors of the economy have fared reasonably well. To borrow the precise words of the Prime Minister from paragraph 8 of his address, the facts speak for themselves. The reconstruction of our nation is firmly on track. End of quotation. I wish to commend the Honourable Prime Minister for the courageous and decisive action he took yesterday regarding pension reforms. Looking at the ministers present in his office during those crucial deliberations, I could personally see a very attentive Prime Minister who, after listening intently to the voices of the people as conveyed through us, took the bold decision he announced yesterday morning, a decision that left even the leader of the opposition visibly taken aback. On a more personal note, I am immensely glad that the Honourable Prime Minister announced during his budget speech that the Maurice Île-du-Rap project, which he rightly noted as widely acclaimed internationally back then, will be revived as part of our comprehensive green transition strategy. I spent 6 highly rewarding years working directly on this mega project at the Prime Minister's office under the supervision of the Prime Minister back then. I remain deeply proud that after 12 years ago, during my first budget speech ever in the National Assembly on 7 April 2015, I tabled a copy of the excellent progress report we had achieved by October 2014. That document will remain preserved in Hansard. I have recently shared a copy thereof with my colleague, the Honourable Jyoti Jitan, in the context that she is preparing in the national consultation for the preparation of Vision 50, a similar process we had followed back then for Île-du-Rap. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the domain of land transport epitomizes the very essence of sustainable development. It fundamentally bridges the 3 crucial pillars of economic, social and environmental escapes, particularly when one considers that land transport alone is responsible for some 31.6% of our greenhouse gas emissions. It is precisely for this reason that sustainable development has always served as the unshakable guiding principle across every department falling under the jurisdiction of my ministry, whether it is the NTC, Metro Express Limited, TRMSU or the NLTA. Deputy Speaker, sir, my main duty today is to apprise Parliament and the population at large of the significant progress my ministry has achieved on the measures announced during last year's budgetary exercise and on how we intend to proceed with the new initiatives announced last Friday for the benefit of our citizens. Yesterday, during his intervention, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition stated, "Public results must now be shown." Let me remind the House that when this government took office, we inherited a domestic vehicle fleet that has grown exponentially by more than 63% from January 2015 to the present date, bringing with it rising traffic congestion, escalating pollution levels, an increasing number of road accidents, and a worrying surge of road rage incidents. The Honourable Leader of Opposition evoked these precise issues yesterday without acknowledging that the low tax regime for vehicles practiced by his very own previous government significantly contributed to this crisis. Faced with these realities, we have no choice than to roll up our sleeves and take the challenges of enhancing national mobility, which is the lifeblood of our economy, while also reducing our carbon footprint to secure a sustainable future. Let me begin by detailing the progress we have achieved regarding, first of all, the Metro Express Limited. As of June 2025, when compared to June 2024, the company has reduced its total operational expenses by 10.4%. This has been achieved through a series of rigorous and disciplined cost-cutting measures, including the closing down of underutilized administrative offices that were incurring exceptionally high rental costs. MEL, for short, Metro Express, in short for Metro Express, is often criticized as being a heavy loss maker, but there is no magical quick fix. The structural solution is simply to increase revenue while aggressively managing and reducing expenses. Following the statement I made in this House on the advertising revenue, for example, following question by the Honourable Anktil, across MEL properties has increased threefold. So we got quite a bit of money there, which was not being claimed before. I don't know why. Furthermore, we have aggressively tackled the systemic problems of fare evasion, despite the fact that vulnerabilities in the physical design of the light rail system inherited from the former regime make it an ongoing operational weak point. It is a tram, actually, which is open. Public walk in and out quite easily, and they decide whether they want to pay when they arrive at the bus, at the doorstep of the train, unlike systems in other countries. Now, I personally request, furthermore, in the tandem with these enforcement measures, I personally requested that idle trams be actively put in operation during peak commuting hours. Previously, an excessive 30% of the entire fleet was being held back for maintenance purposes at all times, even during peak hours, whereas the accepted international norm provides that only 10% of a fleet should be withheld for routine maintenance. So for nothing, trains were being kept idle. This operational tightening does not mean that we have entirely eliminated the deficit. Far from it. Unlike a commercial bus company that utilizes public infrastructure, meaning roads and bus stops, which are maintained entirely by government, the light rail runs on specialized railway tracks and uses light rail stations that it has to construct and maintain itself at high cost. So the economics are not the same. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Honourable Manoj Siban has submitted a highly pertinent question regarding whether the light rail system network could eventually be extended to the Sirsiu Sagar Ramgulam International Airport and into the southern region of the island. It was meant for today, actually, right? This is a highly logical point because in the vast majority of developed nations, light rail networks connect directly with international airports to facilitate seamless travel. However, the previous regime, the previous government, completely failed to prioritize extending the central line from Port Louis to Kuipik to airport, despite the ex-railway tracks spanning from Kuipik to Mayberg and the southern region was available for such development to occur. Instead, they chose to focus their priorities on extending the project from Réduit to Côte d'Or via Saint-Pierre, a decision made for obvious political reason, the former Prime Minister's constituency. I had expressed the strongest possible reservation regarding that particular extension, both in this House and publicly. As reported online in l'Express of 17 August 2025, I quote, 13,5 milliards pour 10,5 kilomètres de voies ferrées entre Réduit et Côte d'Or est un suicide financier. It is available online. I stated very clearly that this project will be a financial suicide. Ultimately, the Exim Bank of India withdrew from the project on account of its disagreement on the procurement process. Thus, that ill-advised project was abandoned, a turn of events that have proven my initial assessment entirely correct in passant. Even the first leg of that extension, that is line 2, between Rose Hill and Réduit, constructed at very high cost, has proven to be heavily loss-making to the extent that I was forced to seek the agreement of government to entirely suspend light rail services along that specific line on Sundays and public holidays. I went twice to Cabinet for such decision. In our quest to capture more passengers and optimize routes, we are now testing a direct pilot project between QPIP and Réduit, starting in September 2026, which will bypass the Rose Hill station entirely, and I have high hopes that this strategy will succeed by bringing more passengers. Deputy Speaker, sir, another milestone achieved by my ministry is the successful reintroduction of the penalty point system. Announced originally in paragraph 197 of last year's budget speech to be fully operational by January 2026, my ministry successfully met this objective when the updated version of the penalty point system became operational on Saturday, 31st of January 2026, exactly on target. Instead of requiring citizens to queue up at a physical driving license counterpart desk, the entire system has been modernized and fully digitalized through our national super app, Correct, which has vastly enhanced public acceptability and ease of use. As a further innovation, I will now submit quarterly reports to government to dynamically adjust legislative provision where emerging data warrants intervention. It is in this vein that as of 10 June 2026, the offense of using a handheld mobile phone while driving will now cost a driver 5 to 10 points on their license, up significantly from the previous range of 3 to 6 points. The recent public uproar regarding the use of Bluetooth and health communication stems from an outdated 2010 regulation enacted 16 years ago, I mean before even I had joined politics, which the NLTA had regrettably omitted to amend over time. I must say that I gave a serious piece of my mind to the officer in charge of the NLTA regarding this serious shortcoming. If members of the public feel that we are overly strict on the issue of mobile phone usage behind the wheel, let me point out that over 500 driving licenses have been recently revoked in Western France for drivers caught using mobile phones while driving a vehicle, if you feel that we are overly strict, in Western France. It is certainly food for thought for anyone questioning our commitment to road safety. On that note, I am pleased to mention that for the second consecutive year since I became minister, there has been absolutely no casualties on our roads during major religious pilgrimages, a stark and welcome contrast to the 2 years preceding the general elections. This success is directly attributed to the strict regulations relating to the conveyance of oversized structures on public roads, especially on the road traffic control of structures and objects during procession, regulations which are promulgated on 20th January 2025 and which were formally gazetted on 22nd January 2025, shortly after my appointment as minister. This framework has successfully regulated the transport of canwars, gund and radeaux, and similar structures, ensuring safety for our pilgrims and motorists alike. Deputy Speaker, sir, the online payment of road tax through the enhanced MVL online is today a concrete reality. The system enables citizens to pay and renew their road tax online for both private and licensed commercial vehicles, completely eliminating the need to queue at physical counters. This online facility will soon be extended to taxi operators. I must here express my gratitude to my colleague, the Honourable Minister of ICT, for his unwavering technical support on this one. Furthermore, I am pleased to inform that a long outstanding project, which has been the subject of several red flags by the National Audit Office for many years, will finally be materialized pursuant to the award of a contract for the revamping of the NLTA system, thereby enabling the digitalization of the NLTA services. It was long. For subsequent years, it was in the National Audit Office report. Now it's going to become a reality. To ease communication with its members, the Taxi Operators Welfare Fund has developed and presented its website to the main taxi unions. Similarly, the online purchase of personalized registration marks has become a popular and successful reality. As I noted during my budget speech last year and during a subsequent PNQ address to me, we have unlocked entirely new registration mark series, specifically combinations ranging from A to Z, that is 2005 to 9999, AA to FM, 2005-1 to 999, and FN to ZZ, 1001 to 999, were fully extended online as of 17 November 2025. This single initiative has generated a substantial income of 55 million rupees for the state. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, you must be surely aware of the ongoing public outcry with regard to the budget measure pertaining to the payment of an annual fee by individuals who have opted for either an all or personalized registration mark. Post on social media has unjustly and vociferously targeted me and the government, despite that my position, after consultation with the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, has remained unchanged from the one I took last year, to the effect that this measure can only be applied prospectively, that is, to new numbers. I maintain it, that is, to new numbers. Indeed, I have to acknowledge the professionalism demonstrated by the press on this issue amidst the current uproar, which patiently waited for my intervention. Unlike on social media, it was quite vociferous. You must have all noticed. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, still in regard to the digitalization, sorry, I have a sore throat. Indeed, I have to, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, still in regard to digital transformation, let me move to the introduction of the fleet management system, which was announced last year during budget exercise. My ministry has almost completed the extensive procurement exercise for this technology, and we have high hopes that it will be fully operational by next year. A formal letter of notification has already been issued to the selected bidder. However, a formal challenge has unfortunately been lodged with the independent review panel by an unsuccessful bidder, which is the legitimate right of any bidder. I, however, remain entirely confident that we will forge ahead with the introduction of the system, which will bring monumental improvements to the bus services levels in terms of bus frequency and passenger information for our 450,000, almost 500,000, daily public commuters. While GPS technology is available since decades in many countries, it is only now that Mauritius will finally introduce this technology in its entire bus fleet, thanks to the budget provided to us last year. I have to turn to the much-awaited cashless ticketing system, on which my ministry is relentlessly working. The terms of reference for the consultancy services have been finalized, and the launching of the bidding exercise is now imminent. With the implementation of this project, our citizens will be able to travel seamlessly across different modes of the public transport. I have always maintained that information and data are the commodities of kings. Given time, the adoption of the cashless ticketing will provide crucial real-time data allowing for far more efficient public fund disbursement and data-driven policy decision. Regarding the wider bus network, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the budget highlights an ambitious rejuvenation of our national fleet of buses, le rajeunissement de la flotte de bus. Following a landmark report submitted by my ministry's Road Advisory Board. This plan outlines a gradual 5-year reduction of the minimum bus age from the current 21 years, which can be quite old for some buses on certain routes, down to 16 years. Alongside that structural report, the board proposed a comprehensive review of the financial assistance quantum provided to route-serving bus operators and made appropriate recommendations to ease this transition. Financial support of 700,000 rupees for a traditional high-floor bus, 1 million rupees for a modern semi-low-floor bus, and a substantial 3.5 million rupees for a fully electric bus will apply under an accompanying budgetary allocation. This allocation has been increased from 100 million rupees to 150 million rupees this year, for which I would like to thank the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Our public transport system is undergoing a massive re-engineering process. We must now completely do away with leaking, heavy smoke-emitting buses on our roads. To this end, the officer in charge of the NLTA has been instructed to enhance and tighten supervision across all authorized vehicle examination stations in respect of all vehicles. Turning our attention to corporate governance, the previous management and board of the NTC fundamentally failed to fulfill their statutory obligations regarding the timely preparation and submission of the corporation's account. Astonishingly, no final accounts were filed for nearly 10 years prior to 2025. The House can surely guess the motives behind the prolonged administrative silence, which was made deliberately to hide disturbing financial facts and operational figures regarding the true state of the corporation, and all the hanky-panky as well, of course. The new management and board set up under this government have successfully restored trust in the corporation and strengthened its financial governance. They have demonstrated a rock-solid commitment towards the basic fiduciary principles of accountability and transparency, ensuring the rapid completion of all outstanding financial statements. These accounts are now being audited gradually by the National Audit Office, with the final accounts for the financial year ending 30th of June 2018, which was supposed to be done by the former government, set to be finalized this month. Demonstrating its newfound efficiency, the corporation even submitted its account for the recent 2024-25 financial year to the National Audit Office, well within the strict statutory deadline, reaffirming robust good governance practices. On the NTC bus fleet modernization, Deputy Speaker, sir, I must highlight that 1/4 of its fleet is now totally new and completely electrified, thanks to the generous vehicle donation from our international partners, that means the Government of India and the Government of China, who provided 100 and 5 electric buses respectively. All are on the roads now. I've been consistent to the effect that electric vehicles that run only on grid can be more polluting. To this end, I have to thank the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance for considering my request for the allocation of funds for both the NTC and Metro Express Limited to diversify their energy mix through electricity produced by photovoltaic panels. Some 325 million rupees over 3 years and 298 million rupees over 3 years respectively for these two companies has been provided for in the budget. A framework for solar power charging stations will also be developed for buses under the Global Environment Facility to encourage the adoption of electric mobility. Furthermore, NTC has been allocated 100 million rupees to pursue its bus fleet renewal program. Deputy Speaker, sir, all robust economic activities must rely on a phased plan for their development in a coherent, macro-level manner. To this end, my ministry has successfully worked out the detailed terms of reference for a consultancy to prepare a comprehensive land transport master plan, which is in our government program. And the tender will be launched this month itself. Provision of 35 million rupees has been made in the budget over the next 2 financial years. However, the most significant long-term legacy that my officers and I would have left during our passage at the Ministry of Land Transport is found explicitly, Deputy Speaker, sir, at item 63 in the annex of the budget. This provision caters for the Road Traffic Act to be amended to give the TRMSU, Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit, legal status, at long last, as the national lead agency responsible for effective management and road safety. The TRMSU will thus become the district legal personality, a status it was devoid of during decades of its existence. One of the key responsibilities devolving of the director of the TRMSU will be the issuance of directives, guidelines, and clearances in matters relating to traffic management and road safety, which shall be binding on both the RDA and local authorities in their capacity as highway authorities. The TRMSU will now be even busier as it is finalizing the National Road Safety Strategy 2026-2030. This government is therefore taking the necessary legislative steps to clarify, streamline, and modernize the law. As a responsible government, we cannot allow legal uncertainty to persist, nor can we ignore legitimate public concerns relating to road safety. This brings me to report on the legislative progress we have made on files we have already processed and sent to the Attorney General's Office for draft legislation. First, we have issued drafting instructions for the amendments to be brought to the Road Traffic Act on 16 February 2026 for the immediate roadside impoundment of vehicles used by drivers under the influence of alcohol or drugs, allowing the police to make an ex parte application to a judge in chambers. Second, the Road Traffic Act is being amended to include road rage as an offence since 10 March 2026. Our file is at the Attorney General's Office. Third, on 27 of May 2026, my ministry submitted the draft bus services bill.
You have 2 minutes to go.
To the Attorney General's Office for review. Fourth, the draft. So there are 3 more, but I will talk to my colleague. On a regional note, more specifically for Rodrigues, I heard the passionate plea made by the Honorable Roxana Collette yesterday, when she stated, and I quote, "Il faut que Rodrigues bénéficie pleinement du développement national." Is that right? I must inform the House that following my official visit to Rodrigues last year, during which I personally noticed the appalling, outdated state of the existing vehicle examination center, the NLTA was formally requested to float bidding exercise for the setting up of a brand new examination center in Rodrigues. The closing date for this expression of interest is for this coming Friday, 26th of June 2026. The Chief Commissioner, François Grandcourt, had already informed my delegation at the material time of our visit that a plot of land can be made available at Béozuit for this exact purpose, ensuring our citizens in Rodrigues receiving the same high standard of vehicle safety infrastructure as those at our mainland. As I conclude my intervention, Deputy Speaker, sir, I do so with a profound feeling of inner satisfaction. The complex, demanding tasks set out for my ministry during the last budgetary exercise have either been fully attended to, fully implemented, or in the stages of completion, in the final stages of completion. We are successfully laying the concrete foundations of an integrated, modernized, digitalized, and inherently safe land transport network. We are leveraging cutting-edge technology wherever needed to drive greater public efficiency, transparency, and fiscal responsibility. Our ultimate concern remains targeted entirely towards enhancing road safety and elevating the daily level of our public services, with the ultimate results of uplifting the quality of life for every citizen of our country. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you.